Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. So guys, it looks like Manny Pacquiao is going to take on Conor McGregor in the Middle East. Now, there's reports coming out that it could happen in Qatar. The fight is a fight that, listen, I think a lot of boxing fans, a lot of people think that there's a lot of, there's a lot of comedy going on with boxing. And listen, I do think boxing is starting to become a bit of a joke. People fighting guys that aren't even boxers. Boxing is the only sport where this could happen. You'd never see basketball, be contested by a professional basketball team and a non-professional basketball team, or you wouldn't see a golf player playing against a non-golf player. Like, it's the only sport where these type of comedy circuses can happen. And listen, I'm not against Manny Pacquiao fighting Conor McGregor. McGregor's done it before with Mayweather. Manny Pacquiao's had a very tough and hard career, and I think Manny Pacquiao's should go out and make a shed load of money against McGregor, because it's a huge fight. It's a fight which will generate ridiculous amounts of revenue. It would be a huge money spinner. Both guys are at that stage in their career where they need big paydays. They want to, they're on the final stage of their careers, last one or two fights. McGregor's looking for paydays. Manny Pacquiao's looking for paydays, and I think it makes a lot of sense, because Manny Pacquiao is going to destroy Conor McGregor in a boxing ring. It's going to be an easy fight for Manny Pacquiao, and Manny Pacquiao then potentially could fight someone else as well, just because Manny Pacquiao could do exhibition fights. He could fight McGregor. He could fight Mikey Garcia. He could in Middle East and fight Khan, and he doesn't even have to fight the top big boys, and he can make more money. Obviously, the competitive nature of Manny Pacquiao, he may want to go in the ring with someone like Spencer Crawford just to see if he can achieve greatness and become undisputed. But what Manny Pacquiao should do, in my opinion, what Manny should do is keep fighting fights, of like McGregor, then maybe fight a Mikey or a Amir Khan. He'll make shed loads of money doing that. And then when Spencer Crawford and all the dust settles and those two fight one another, then in his final fight of his career, look to become the undisputed champion. That's what Manny Pacquiao should do, in my personal opinion. I think Manny Pacquiao is perfectly fine for him to be fighting McGregor. He's going to make a shed load of money. Manny's over 40 years of age. We just, as boxing fans, want to see Manny Pacquiao fight. It doesn't matter who it's against, right? It doesn't matter who it's against. Fighting, whether he's fighting killers. Now, the Spence and Crawford fans might want to see him fight Spence and Crawford, but at the end of the day, Manny's fought killers in his career. It's those guys that need to fight killers now, not Manny. If you look at Spence's career, he's not really fought. Who's he fought? Porter, Lamont, Brook. That's it. He's not fought many killers. Let him go and create his legacy. Let Manny have his fights, and then listen, if Manny feels he wants to fight Spence or Crawford, I'm pretty sure he'll go in there and fight them. His resume shows that he's fought everyone throughout his career, so I don't think Manny would be afraid to get in there with a Spence or Crawford either. But at the end of the day, the way I look at it is that there's nothing wrong with Manny Pacquiao fighting Conor McGregor. See, with Mayweather and Logan Paul, that's a joke, because Logan Paul's not even a fighter and he's a YouTuber. Right, so I got a little bit of problem with that. With McGregor, not really, because McGregor's a fighter, and although he's not a boxer, he's not that great a boxer, of course, and Manny Pacquiao is going to dismantle him. I haven't got a problem with that, but Logan Paul's not a boxer, or he's not a fighter, so I've got a little bit of a problem with that, because that's a really bad mismatch. Don't get me wrong, Manny Pacquiao McGregor's a mismatch. But McGregor's tough. He's a fighter. He's used to taking punishment of other fighters. Logan Paul's not used to taking punishment of elite boxers, right? And Mayweather right now might not be an elite boxer, but still for Logan Paul, he's still an elite boxer. He's still a guy that he's gonna wipe the floor with Logan Paul. Whereas McGregor might be able to take a few shots before he eventually gets knocked out. Listen, I don't have a problem with Manny Pacquiao fighting Conor McGregor. I didn't even have a problem with Mayweather fighting Conor McGregor, if I'm honest with you. I think most people were intrigued. I know you get a lot of the guys saying, "Oh, well, it's terrible." No, not really, because in my opinion, brought a lot of eyes to the sport. In terms of in terms of Logan Paul Mayweather, I think that's just a joke, and I don't even think people will buy into that. If I'm on, I think people will watch it, but will they pay for it? I don't think so. I don't think people will pay for that. Why would you want to pay to watch a YouTuber fight Mayweather? Like, that's just, I don't think that'll do that great numbers. Maybe their hardcore fans might buy it, but the casuals with it, possibly. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't see. For me, that's a joke. That's a complete joke, and I won't buy that. If I'm honest with you, that's not something that I'd buy into. But Manny Pacquiao McGregor is something that I've got no problem with. I think it's a great fight. A great fight in the sense that the build-up will be great. Will it be great? Actually, I don't know, because Manny's quite reserved, and McGregor, I think, will be quite respectful towards Pacquiao. So I'm not sure. The fight's actually, I just said it's a great fight. The fight's not a great fight because Manny's going to destroy him, and I think Manny's going to do a lot. He's going to beat him a lot badly, or he's going to beat him a lot worse than what Mayweather beat him. I think he's going to beat him. He's going to beat him up. And I think the fight's going to end a lot quicker because I think Manny Pacquiao has a different style to Mayweather. Manny Pacquiao thinks offensively. He's not a defensive fighter. And offensively, Conor McGregor, although he's big and he's tough, Manny Pacquiao's really fast hands. His movement's amazing. He's got a decent amount of pop. He punches harder than Mayweather. And McGregor could be in serious trouble. So I don't see this fight going past 4 rounds, if I'm honest with you, and that might be generous. I think Manny Pacquiao doesn't mess around in the ring. Manny Pacquiao goes in there, goes for the kill. Manny Pacquiao doesn't fight like Floyd Mayweather. And Manny Pacquiao hasn't got the mindset where he'll look to prolong the fight. Manny Pacquiao will just go in there and do what he's got to do. So I think it makes a lot of financial sense for both of them because, like I said, they're both in the stage of their career. And I think McGregor knows from the UFC, apart from if he fights Khabib, which will be a killer fight for him, which will be a very, very hard and dangerous fight. This is going to be very hard for him, but I think he's going to make a lot more money. I think in the Middle East that they'd be willing to pay shed loads of money for that. But then I'm pretty sure if he was to fight Khabib in the UFC, where he has more chance of winning, right? Even though he'd be an underdog against Khabib, he has more chance of winning against Khabib, and he'd be doing something that he's comfortable doing, and he probably gets paid a shed load of money fighting Khabib in the Middle East as well, because Khabib, I'm pretty sure they'd be willing to pay big money to both of them to fight as well. So I would prefer to see McGregor go down that route, but I think he's got a bit of beef with Dana White, and he said that the reason why he retired from the UFC was to do with Dana White, or Dana White's a very strong-minded person. He's been running the UFC for a very long time, and he's been very successful doing it. He's not going to be dictated to by Conor McGregor, right? He's had many stars, probably not as big as McGregor, but he's had many stars that probably thought they were bigger than the UFC, and what Dana White put them in their place. You cannot dictate anything to Dana White. He tells and he runs the show of the UFC, irrespective of how big you think you are, how famous you think you are. Now, I am going to be intrigued to see whether Conor McGregor is under contract with Dana White, because if that's the case, then Dana White will not allow Conor McGregor to fight against Manny Pacquiao without his permission, unless, I'm pretty sure Dana White will then pursue legal action. So if I'm not sure what the situation is contractually between McGregor and Dana White. Hopefully Conor McGregor hasn't got a contract with Dana White, but I know he fought Donald Cerrone in his last fight in the UFC. Was he out of contract after that? Was it a one-fight deal? What was it? I don't know. If he's out of contract, then Dana White can't do anything. If he's still under contract, then Dana White can do a lot, because Dana White's not going to want a fight like that to go ahead without him being involved, because Dana White would want to make money out of it. Now, if Dana White no longer has any contractual agreement with Conor McGregor, then McGregor's free to do what he wants, and then McGregor can fight Manny Pacquiao without Dana White's permission. But it all depends on what the contractual situation is between the two. Now, Dana White's not said anything about it. He's not mentioned anything. If this is true and this is going to happen, it looks like it, because Manny Pacquiao has also hinted in the past that they're looking to have a fight with Conor McGregor. Then it looks to me like this could be a done deal. Manny Pacquiao v McGregor could be a done deal. Now, I believe it was Manny Pacquiao strength and conditioning coach Justin Fortune said that Manny Pacquiao fighting McGregor would be a joke and Manny would just destroy him. I do agree with him, but I do think at the same time it's a business and it's about making money. If Manny Pacquiao is going to get paid millions on millions to fight a guy that he knows that's a less risky fight, that's not any danger to him, that he's going to win quite comfortably, why not take the fight? Like I said, I don't have a problem with Manny Pacquiao taking a fight with Conor McGregor. I think it's a very sensible thing to do. I think a lot of people may give Manny stick, and especially the Spence and Crawford fans might come on, but look at what the guy's done throughout his career. He's an 8 division world champion. Manny Pacquiao has the right. These same guys were probably fans of Floyd Mayweather, and they weren't saying the same thing when Mayweather decided to fight Conor McGregor. So they certainly don't have a leg to stand on with a guy like Manny Pacquiao, who's jumped into fights, nilly-willy. He don't really care. He doesn't care what weight, what hydration. He just jumped into fights. Mayweather was the one throughout his career that really, he picked and chose his opponents carefully. He was a great manager. But nevertheless, I don't like to take away from Mayweather. I still think he's one of the greatest. Forget about the picking and choosing. Yeah, he was clever in that, but he still was a great. Now, Pacquiao wasn't like that. Pacquiao was more a fighter. Rather than a businessman after. But now Pacquiao's at the stage of his career where he has to be a businessman. He has to think about, the money side of things. He's at the end of his career. He wants to become the president of the Philippines. He wants to make as much money as possible before he retires. And I think it makes sense for him to make as much money as possible before he retires, just so he can help his Filipino people when he becomes president. It makes a lot of sense. Manny Pacquiao now is fighting for a bigger cause. He's fighting for a big reason. He's fighting for his people. He's fighting for to become the president so he can help his country. I think I hope he makes every single dollar he can make, every single dollar and cent he can make from boxing now towards the end of his career, because he's only got a couple of fights left and he's going to hang it up. So a fight with Conor McGregor financially makes a lot of sense for Manny Pacquiao. It's a financially very lucrative fight for him. Very lucrative fight. It's an easy fight, which he's going to win comfortably. It's a massive profile fight between two guys that are two of the biggest stars in combat boxing. So I like it. I like it for Manny. I think it's a great move. Great move for McGregor as well. If we look at it from his aspect, his career now is at the end as well. He's also more of a businessman, and I think financially he knows this fight is a massive fight. I think McGregor Pacquiao is gonna generate a lot of interest. I think everybody knows what the outcome of the fight will be, but I just think it's the fact that people want to see these guys in the ring together to see what happens. I think everybody knows that McGregor is going to lose, but it's just kind of intrigue of watching something like that, between two massive names. It's a bit like if you were to get Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan on a golf course, right? Even though everybody knows that Michael Jordan has no chance with Tiger Woods on a golf course, it will just be the intrigue of watching two legends go at it on a golf course, So the same way, even though I don't think McGregor's at at that level of a Jordan or a Woods, or even he's at the level of a Pacquiao, what Pacquiao's in boxing, I still think McGregor's such a big star and such a big name that it will generate such interest that people will want to watch it. So again, I think it's a great move. I think it's a great move from both guys. Financially, they're going to make a lot of money, and you know what? This sport is a tough sport. Their fields are tough, so you can't really blame them for doing this, to go out there and make as much money as possible, because they do it. This is very hard what they do, So fair play to both of them. I hope the fight happens. I hope they both make a shed load of money. I hope they both come out safe after the fight. And I hope even though I don't think it's going to be a great competitive fight, I hope we get a great fight. That's my take. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.